Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel, where today I am very excited to finally share with you a showcase for Rank 4 Sig 200 Viv Vision, who is one of my absolute favorite champions in MCOC. Now, I've been posting a lot of Viv shorts lately, but I thought it would be nice to collect a whole bunch of fights all together in one place, and so here we are. Now, in this video, I have nearly 30 fights to show you across a variety of game modes. We'll cover a couple of Battlegrounds matches. I have a few Alliance War fights that I did the other day, some longer questing fights from the brand new Act 8 Crucible, and the rest will be matchups against a variety of defenders with Battleground-sized health pools, including Korg, MODOK, Zola, Thing, Red Skull, and yes, even Yelena. Now, there are a few things I want to cover before we get into the gameplay, and the first thing is that unless otherwise indicated, I am not boosted for any of these fights. And in fact, I think I'm only boosted for the Alliance War fights because I'm normally boosted for War. And for all the fights that you see that are on the CCP server, all of those are done without any sort of extra synergies as well. The last thing I want to mention is the relic, because I do get a lot of questions on what relic is best for her, and in fact I did an entire video on this topic a while back. Now, for the vast majority of fights that you'll see me do in this video, I am using a rank 3 6-star Vision relic. Vision relic gives her a nice damage boost against all classes of defenders. The Sentinel relic is the other one you might choose. It gives you a higher damage boost, but only against non-mutants, and it requires you to use the Striker before your special 1 spam. So, either of those relics are really going to work well for you. Just kind of pick the one that you are most comfortable with, or the one that you happen to have ranked up. With all that out of the way, sit back, relax, and let's jump right in. Alright, let's start off the video with my least favorite champion in the game. We have a rank 4 Sig 200 Domino here, and this is in the current Battlegrounds victory track meta. Now, one of the reasons Viv works so well for Domino is because her base ability accuracy rating is 125%. So even when you factor in Domino's ability accuracy reduction, she cannot cause any of Viv's abilities to fail, which means you will never take any critical failure damage against Domino unless you're running something like the Resonate Mastery here. So you're basically just playing normal Viv style. You can phase. She cannot cause your phase to fail. You can phase the special 1 to make this fight go a little bit faster, but really when it comes to Viv versus Domino, the only thing you really have to worry about here is her evade. And I do take a couple of chances here with the evade, and I get lucky, which is funny, right? Because Domino's usually lucky. But anyways, once you get the special 2 off, you get yourself above a bar of power, fire off your special 1s, and that's a 0 damage fight against a rank 4 Sig 200 Domino in Battlegrounds. Pretty good start. Alright, next up we also have a Battlegrounds fight against a rank 3 Shocker here. One of the reasons you will lose a lot of health versus Shocker is because he has a lot of block penetration, and when you are letting him hit into your block to bait a heavy, because you can't really trust a parry stun with his built-in limber, you're going to end up taking a lot of chip damage. And chip damage is one thing that Viv really excels in preventing, because she can phase and get her openings that way rather than having to parry or having to bait heavies to get her openings here. So the main thing you want to focus on in this fight is making sure that he doesn't trigger his auto block. So you saw there, I landed an intercept on his medium dash before firing off my special 2 to guarantee that he won't be able to auto block. Auto block doesn't really matter once you get ready to cash out with your special 1s, of course, because your special 1s are going to be unblockable as long as he's below bar of power, so he can trigger his auto block. He really can't. He can't do anything about it here. So a couple of special 1s, and here we go, another 0 damage Battlegrounds fight against a very annoying defender. Alright, next up we have a rank 4 Baron Zemo from the CCP server. All of these CCP fights, by the way, are against rank 4 defenders. This guy has about 400,000 health. Zemo, of course, will be in the Titan pool in just a week or so, so you should expect to see him in Battlegrounds decks before long. Now again, similar to the last fight, one of the reasons why Viv works so well here is because she avoids a lot of the chip damage from Zemo. His medium attacks are projectiles. He can crit through your block, which means against a lot of champions you're going to take a lot of damage just getting your openings, and Viv can avoid that with getting her phase in. In addition, all of Viv's effects are passive effects, which means you never have to worry about triggering any of his cleanses, and if you trigger too many, of course, he gets that beefy armor up, and that's going to hinder a lot of your damage as well. So if you avoid your 4th light with Viv, which does place a debuff, all of your energy vulns, your heal blocks, they're all passive effects, so you can safely get through even a rank 4 Zemo taking no damage. And that fight took about 50 seconds or so. I know it was under a minute. There we go, 52 seconds, so pretty good. Alright, next up we have a rank 4 Black Panther Civil War, and this is another defender where it's difficult to get openings against him without getting a lot of chip damage. You can't parry him because he will reflect your stun, and if you let him hit into your block while you wait for him to throw a heavy attack, he has a lot of block pen, which means you're going to be taking a lot of chip damage. And I know I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here by saying this, but being able to get openings against a defender without parrying, without needing to do a blind intercept or a sidestep, and without needing to block bait a heavy is really, really powerful utility, and it's something that Viv really excels at doing here. So, similarly to Zemo, Black Panther gets a lot of those cleanses on his special 1, and since all of your stuff is passive, you can basically ignore all of that. And once you get up to your special 1 spam, the fight is basically over. I think this fight ends up being like 53 seconds there. We needed, I think, a 4th special 1 there to finish him off, but yeah, 53 seconds against a rank 4 Black Panther, not too shabby. Alright, next up we have a rank 4 Arnim Zola. I actually posted a Battlegrounds fight against a rank 3 Zola, but I got super lucky with the special 1 spam, decided to kind of cancel that one and re-record it here. This one is actually a rank higher than the one that I recorded before. So Viv is going to get this fight done without any issues just the same. So a couple of things to focus on here. The first is that Viv can get easy heavy openings via her phase, and that again means you don't have to bait out heavies from him. You don't have to worry about doing the reparry trick. You don't have to worry about whether or not Viv can heavy counter his heavy attack. The other thing you want to know is that her burst damage on her special 2 and her special 1 gets around the cowardice that he places on attackers whenever they use a special attack, and this is what is going to really enable her to do this fight here. So we're already set up with our special 2. We are ready for our special 1 spam. We have him at very low power. Because his combat power rate cannot be reduced, the special 1 from us will actually grant him power, as you can see here. So we're going to fire off our special 1. He is still below a bar of power, so they will be unblockable. And there we go, 3 special 1s against a rank 4 Zola. No rigged creator AI required. I got a real kick out of some of those comments suggesting that I had special AI. Alright, next up we have a Man-Thing, and obviously the main threat against Man-Thing is typically those pustule buffs that he will place on you, and then when you make contact with him, he will nullify them, turn them into armor breaks, and poison. Viv, of course, is nullify immune, and thus has very little threat from Man-Thing in this fight, unless we were to take a full combo from him. Additionally, Man-Thing is very tanky. Crits against him don't do any additional damage. Viv's crit rate is very low, and her burst damage makes up the majority of the damage that she deals in a fight. So the crit damage reduction that Man-Thing has against a variety of champions doesn't really affect her at all. And again, we can do just our similar rotation that we've done in the other fights. We've already built up our solar energy with the special 2, waiting for him to throw this special 1 here. He's just wasting some time, and as soon as he gets himself below a bar of power, we can go ahead, fire off our special 1 spam, and you can notice in most of these fights, these defenders are well above 50% of their total health, and these special 1s are just absolutely decimating him. Now that 3rd special 1 didn't finish him off, so we went ahead, phased full combo, and a 4th special 1 did finish him off. That is a rank 4 Man-Thing, yellow barred, in 63 seconds. Alright, next up we have Dust, another defender who can deal a lot of chip damage to you if you get caught without a good counter. Now normally you want somebody who deals incinerate damage or plasma damage to remove the sand debuffs from yourself, but with Viv, since she doesn't have to block, the only sand debuffs that she ever has to worry about come from Dust's awakened ability, which have a chance to place one on you like every 10 hits or so in your combo. So again, as long as you don't hit her block and get your openings only via the phase, you are never going to trigger a sandstorm against a Dust, which is really, really nice. Viv just as good against Dust as somebody like Ironheart, who is typically my go-to Dust counter. So here we go, special 2 into special 1, and you can also see how much better Viv is in her ideal class advantage matchups. That is a rank 4 Dust in about 44 seconds with Viv Vision. Here's another really strong Mystic matchup for Viv. This is an Ebony Maw. Now against most champs, he's going to trigger that degen on you by placing a Fury buff with the special 1 and then nullifying it with his 2nd special 1. So buff immune champs and nullify immune champs like Viv can easily avoid that degen. In addition, Viv can easily heavy counter his special 1. A lot of champions can do that too, of course. You can also phase into the heavy if you are not comfortable with the spacing on that SP1 heavy counter. But either way, as long as you're diligent, of course, about making sure that you knock him down as much as possible, you can prevent him from getting up to that 20th persuasion charge, and thus prevent the falter, which is going to save you a lot of time, and in Battlegrounds it's going to save you a lot of points as well. If you are really good here, you can get that special 1 off before he triggers the falter here. I was a little bit too slow, so I had to wait it out. Again, cost me a few seconds extra on the clock, a few extra points in Battlegrounds. But either way, Viv against Ebony Maw, a very safe matchup and very easy for her to come out of there with full health. This is a really good one. This is Buffed MODOK. So Buffed MODOK's signature ability now allows him to trigger the parry mastery when he would auto block an attack, and you can disable this temporarily by knocking him down with a heavy attack. So on a stun immune node, like you'll probably find him in War, it's going to be very difficult to heavy counter him. But Viv, of course, can heavy right out of that phase. So what I'm doing here is anytime I see that blue icon, or if I see that it's about to refresh, I'm backing off, triggering the phase, and knocking him down with a heavy, and that allows me a window with which I can deal some damage without fear of that auto block. So Viv, of course, has no undermine, has no way of countering the auto block in her kit. She just has to play around it. Now, one thing to note here is that unlike previous fights, she cannot just throw the special 1 into his block when he has that force field charge, because he also has that blue steadfast passive. So right here you can see he's got the auto block charge, but I need to phase heavy to turn it off, and then I can throw another special 1 in order to finish the fight. So really, really important there. Still gets that fight done in under a minute. That was a rank 4 MODOK again, but you do have to play around with her rotation a little bit to get it to work. Another really good Mystic matchup here. This is a 7-star rank 4 Absorbing Man. Now I realize that 7-star Absorbing Man doesn't exist yet in the game, but he will someday, and it's worth keeping this one in mind. Absorbing Man, another champion that you really don't want to take blocked hits from, especially if you're allowing him to refine his form. He can crit through your block, he can do that burst damage through your block. Again, Viv doesn't have to block and thus avoids a lot of that problem. In addition, the biggest problem with Absorber Man is his really strong regen, but with Viv's access to a passive heal block, she can counter him on pretty much every node. Right there I got a cheeky little phase in on a special 1. I was especially proud of that. Now with Absorber Man, you want to keep him in Uru form because his energy resistance is really, really low, and that's going to enable Viv to do maximum damage with a special 1. So again, rank 4, Absorber Man, totally shut off his healing, and that was like 44 seconds or so, something like that. Really, really fast kill for not having class advantage. Moving on, we have an Apocalypse here. You don't really see Apocalypse as a defender much anymore, but he is pretty tanky. And again, if you don't know the full decks on his special 1 or a special 2, you can end up taking a lot of chip damage. So one thing that I really like to do against Apoc is just phase right through his special 1. If you hit parry at the right time with the phase available, the special 1 will totally miss and you avoid all of that chip damage. And this is useful in matches where you need to keep tempo up. You really can't afford to push him consistently to the special 2. You can just phase right through the special 1. And once you get proficient with Viv, you can do this against a lot of champions. I put out a video last year, the year before, about phasing like 100 different special attacks with her. Once you get the timing down, you can do this against most champions in the game, and it makes her really, really powerful in the right hands here. Fire off the special 1s, and that is a rank 4 APOC down in roughly 45, 46 seconds, I think. I can't remember the exact numbers on some of these fights. It is 49 seconds, so there we go. Alright, here we have a Red Skull. Red Skull reduces the accuracy of stuns with his armor up, so you don't have to worry about that at all with Viv. So then the real threat in his kit becomes the auto block, which happens after his special 1. Now you can approach this fight in one of two ways. If he's not being very cooperative with the special attacks, you can kind of try and get him to dash at you and trigger a power drain with your phase. That will allow you to get additional combos in without having to deal with the auto block. In addition, you can also just wait out the auto block like I'm doing here, or you can do the heavy counter to the special 1, which is a little bit tricky. So here I was content to wait out the auto block, sidestep into the special 2, and now we've kind of set ourselves up for the special 1 spam. Now if I recall correctly in this fight, the 3 special ones leave him just shy of the KO. It's at like 3 or 4% or so. And this is a good example of what you need to do should, for whatever reason, her normal rotation not clear the defender's health pool. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be patient, realize that I have a little bit time left on my energy Vones, trying to get him to dash at me, full combo into a 4th special one, and if he's a little bit more cooperative than that, you can usually get in that 4th special one before the energy Vones disappear. But either way, we get that fight done. The extra time cost us a little bit, but still, rank 4 Red Skull done in 1 minute and 5 seconds. Not too shabby. Alright, let's stay in the tech class. We have an Iron Man Infinity War here. And one of the really good things about Viv in this fight is that you can actually use her phase on his special one and punish it, which allows you to keep tempo, keep your rhythm up in this fight, and really shave off a lot of seconds on this fight from what it otherwise would be here. So you can see we're only a few seconds in, we are already up to our special 2. So the only danger in this fight really is you have to be concerned about his auto block before you get ready to your special 1 spam, because the auto block threat on your basic attack is still very much going to happen if you let him build up too many armors here. So, but again, similar to other auto block champs here like Red Skull, once we are ready to do the special 1 spam, it doesn't even matter at the end of the fight when he gets to 18%, he can't auto block an unblockable attack. So you're going to see we're just going to burst right through the end of this fight. Power gain doesn't matter, auto block doesn't matter, he just goes down. That was a rank 4 Infinity Man in under 60 seconds. I think it's 50 or 52, something like that. Another really strong matchup here. We have a Toad. Again, another champ who doesn't yet exist as a 7-star, but I don't really feel like we're that far off from seeing a 7-star Toad in MCOC. Now, Toad will punish poison immunity with extra prowess. If he gets enough prowess, he's going to trigger that passive stun. So Viv has the ability to invalidate prowess on her heavy attack. Not only does it remove the prowess, but it also deals a burst of damage depending on how much prowess is removed. So this is one of Viv's best matchups because she can constantly just heavy out of the phase, remove all of his prowess. This ends up being a 39-second fight. Now we can keep the heal block going, of course. You kind of have to balance the heal block with the heavies, but 1 special 1 from her ends that fight. And again, 39 seconds against one of her best matchups, rank 4 Toad. Alright, we're going to start getting into some matchups that I probably wouldn't recommend necessarily, but they still work, and I really did want to show kind of Viv's versatility as an attacker. So here we have a big boy rank 4 Sasquatch here. Now, a couple things to pay attention to in this fight. Sasquatch's combat power rate is increased by unique buffs on you, so right off the bat, you have those permanent armor ups on you, and that means that he is going to be gaining a lot of power every time you hit into him. Now, this kind of works to your advantage because it's easier to push him to the special 2, which is a lot easier to counter and to punish. Now this is a fight where you absolutely want to go for the special 3 rotation first, just because he has so much health to chunk through that the fight is definitely not going to be over in her normal rotation otherwise, even with access to that heal block to stop his regen when he gets low enough here. So be aware that the Fury buff that you get, again, is going to work against you in terms of combat power rate. You can see how much power he gets from every basic attack, but it's really worth it, again, because I like pushing him to that special 2. I don't really mind punishing that one when I can. Power draining him there. We've got all of our solar energy prepped and ready, just kind of building up to close to 2 bars of power here, and then we're going to go for the special 1. Fire it off, and we've got the heal block applied. It's going to be paused as long as we're attacking him. 2 special 1s, and 1 more special 1 finishes him off. Again, that is a big boy rank 4 Sasquatch in under 90 seconds. A little bit longer because, again, that special 3 rotation is required, but still very, very effective. Alright, next we have Korg, and again, there are way better Korg counters than Viv Vision, but in a pinch, if you know what you're doing, you can make it work with her and still take no damage. So the idea here is when he has his rock shield active, you want to phase into 4 light hits. You want to get that rock shield down as much as possible. This, again, similar to the Sasquatch fight, I think is a longer fight just because he has so much resistance and damage mitigation with that rock shield. Now you can use the special 3 to remove all the rock shield stacks at once, which I'm going to do here. And again, just because he has so much resistance, so much health to work through here, getting that fury buff and empowering all of your basic attacks and your special attack hits is really, really important to getting this fight down in like a reasonable amount of time here. So keeping one eye again on the rock stacks, going ham when we can when the rock stacks are down, but as soon as they come back, we're doing the phase and 4 lights. Now the 4th light puts a debuff on him, so a high Sig Korg like this one has a very good chance of just purifying that debuff and gaining an extra stack of rock shield. That's going to happen. Just got to be patient, utilize that solar energy, phase 4 hits, rinse and repeat here. So we are all set up with our special 2s. We're going to fire off our special 1 here. Now I understood that I fired it off into his shield, which is, you know, unfortunate, but 3 special 1s still gets the job done. So the extended rotation, enough to take down a big rank 4 Sig 200 Korg in under 90 seconds. I think this was like a minute 23 looks like. Alright, next up we have rank 4 Sig 200 Thing, and again there are way better options for this fight than Viv, but if you know what you're doing, you can definitely get through a fight against him without taking any damage. So the main thing here, of course, is to pay attention to his rock stacks. Viv's special 2 has 5 hits to it, so you want to launch it when he has 10 rock stacks, and ideally that special 2 is going to push him above a bar of power so that you can bait out the special and safely clear them. Now this is a fight where you absolutely need the Sentinel Relic instead of the Vision Relic. I tried to get this solo with the Vision Relic for probably 45 minutes, switched to Sentinel, and literally got it on my first try here. So what you can see me doing there is I threw the Striker to get that Incinerate vulnerability, we've cleared the rock stacks, and now we're pretty much good to go. Max energy vulns, we're not going to have to worry about the Unstoppable, and it leaves him just shy, but we still have enough room to full combo. We're going to do that, fire the special 1 right into his block, and even though it triggered the Unstoppable, it was unblockable and thus had enough oomph to kill him. So really, really tricky fight, really close, but she can do it if she's like your last option. Alright, here we have by far the most difficult fight that I did for this video. This is Yelena Bolova. Definitely would not recommend you use Viv for this unless you absolutely had to. It is very difficult to manage everything. So what you want to do here is you want to do a lot of heavies out of the phase to build up Yelena's combo, because the damage that you're going to be doing is severely limited until you get her out of observation mode and into elimination mode. So ideally, you want to make sure that you are ready to go when she's at 100 combo here. Obviously, you need to manage the special attacks there and remind yourself that when she does hit that 100 combo, enters elimination mode, she can no longer miss, so your phase becomes pretty much worthless there. So right here, we're going to fire off the special 2. This is going to knock her down and put her above 100 combo. This special 1 is going to put her in elimination mode here, and now we are kind of set up here. So as soon as she enters elimination mode, she's below a bar of power, and now we are ready to go to start a special 1 spam here. We're going to toss the Sentinel Relic to get that Incinerate vulnerability, again, pretty much required for this matchup. And then we're going to toss our special 1s. She's below a bar of power, so we can just fire them at will. And 3 special 1s are enough to get down a rank 4 Yelena Bolova, 0 damage taken in 75 seconds. And again, this is not a matchup that I would say you should practice. There are better Yelena counters and much easier ways to play against her than by using Viv, but it's good to know that at least this is possible. Alright, last CCP matchup here, just had a little fun. Viv is actually a really good counter to herself. Again, because she can avoid the power drain from hitting into herself with medium and light attacks just by phasing into the heavy attack. And also doing this means that the opposing Viv special 1 will not be unblockable because you'll be above a bar of power by the time she gets there here. So this is pretty much the whole fight. We're going to just repeatedly phase and heavy, sidestep into the special 2 here. And Viv is not Incinerate immune, despite having Incinerates on her special 1. So once you get up to your special 1, it's going to do full damage here. She can't do anything about it here. So again, just repeatedly phase and heavy. Notice the bursts of damage on Viv's heavy. So this is actually a strategy that you can employ in a lot of fights because you're getting that extra burst damage on every heavy. And the risk there is that you're losing out on the energy vulnerabilities that you get from completing full combos. So there is a bit of a trade-off here, but in some fights it might be worth it. 50 seconds, again, for that mirror match. Alright, moving on to a couple of war fights. I did post these as shorts already, but I like to narrate over them here, provide additional bit of context and strategy. So first off, we have a Havok here on node 10 of the war map. This is tier 1 war, of course. And on this node, you've got the Masochism over time, so any debuff that you place on Havok is going to get consumed, he's going to regen, and then he's going to be unblockable whenever he's regenning here. So Viv is really good for most champions on this node, again, because she can get her openings without relying on a parry stun, and nothing in her kit is a debuff other than the suppression, which you can avoid just by not using that 4th light attack. Now, Viv is a good counter for Havok in general. Obviously, she has, like many tech champs, that armor up buff, but her power drain actually removes all of his plasma charges, so he is never going to gain enough of those charges to even come close to triggering a detonation in the first place. Now, against Havok, it's really important that you get all 5 of those energy vulnerabilities up because his energy resistance is very high, and you really need all 5 of those to be active in order to reduce that energy resistance back below 0 here. So just a reminder that I was boosted for this fight because it's war and there is a lot more health to chunk through than in Battlegrounds, but still, Havok down in under 60 seconds, no damage taken. That means no potions required, which is really good if you're a war player like I am. Alright, here's the only other war fight I'm going to show you here. This is a Northstar, again on path 1. This is node number 1. With personal space regen and then recovery. So if you don't have a heal block option, the regen can really get out of control quickly on this node. Now I wanted to include this one because not only can you phase multiple hits from Northstar because he's got that wacky combo, but you can also easily heavy counter his special 1. And since he gains prowess on that special 1, you can easily heavy counter it for a lot of extra burst damage. And keeping his prowess in control is really good for the rest of the fight. Now, he does get that massive physical resistance passive, but most of Viv's damage when she cashes out is from those energy bursts, which are going to be plasma against mutants. So his physical resistance when he's tossing specials like this doesn't really help him in a matchup against Viv here. So we're going to try and bait out one more special 1 from him. I can see that he's already half dead, so no need to push myself up further towards 2 bars of power. We can just heavy him there to remove the prowess, and it's going to take only 2 special 1s in order to clear this fight. Really, really easy matchup. She can clear most mutants on these 2 nodes, along with the nodes up on path 1B as well. Alright, moving on to some questing fights. This is the Mr. Sinister from the Act 8 Crucible, and I included a bunch of these fights here because I wanted to show how she would work in lengthier content where perhaps one rotation wasn't enough to get these fights down. And in some of these fights, you need to go either for the extended rotation or you need to go through all the way through like another special 2 into a second set of SP1 spam. So this Mr. Sinister has a lot of regen. You see he also has Vigorous Assault. So anytime he has that regen buff, which I think is coming from Arc Overload, he's going to be fully unblockable. Viv doesn't care about any of that because, again, she can get her openings in easily without worrying about parrying an unblockable opponent. Really good matchup for Sinister. She has the passive heal block to stop him from healing. She doesn't crit a lot, so he's not going to be healing or triggering those passive regens much anyway. And she's a robot, which means that when he attempts to send back those bleeds as degen, it's not going to work. So really, really all around, very, very good counter for Mr. Sinister on pretty much any node in the game here. So you can see, since this was a bigger fight, we did go for the special 3 rotation first. Now we're just trying to bait out this special 1 from him before we sidestep into the special 2. Or we're just going to go in for a shortened combo because we still have the phase available. Firing off the special 2. We've got him heal blocked, no worries there. Going to phase into another combo here, push him above a bar of power, bait out this special attack, and then we're going to go as close as we can to 2 bars of power just in case we don't clear with 3 special 1s, but as it turns out, only 2 are required. So that is the Act 8 Crucible Mr. Sinister gone in under 90 seconds. Or actually, a little bit over 90 seconds. My mistake. 133. Alright, next up we have Crucible Masacre, who has Biohazard and a node called Heavy Assault. So in this fight, because my heavies are going to do a lot more damage, that was a nice 60k crit there on that one, I end up worrying too much about the heavies and not enough about getting the energy vulns from completing full combos. So I think I only do like 2, maybe 3 full combos here. So by the time we're ready to do our special 1 spam, we only have 2 or 3 of those energy vulns on him, which means our special 1 is not going to do as much as we really need it to do. And I kind of punished myself for that because the SP1 spam isn't enough to clear him without that 3rd, 4th, and 5th energy vuln here. So again, I'm kind of so like enamored with doing the heavies because they're doing so much damage. You could probably just finish this fight with just the heavies and not even like worry about her special attacks. That would absolutely be a viable strategy here, but you can see we are kind of out of special 1 spam and the 2 energy vulns just aren't really cutting it here. So we're going to bait out this special 1. The energy vulns are gone, so we're just going to try and basically finish it out with heavy spam, knowing that I kind of messed it up a little bit beforehand. So sidestep into that special 1, and that clears him. Again, Crucible Massacre, probably could have played that better. I needed to commit to like one approach or the other here and stuck with it. So a minute 11 still, not bad at all. Alright, here's the Morningstar, also from the Act 8 Crucible. Has a node called Caltrops, which triggers a bleed whenever you dash back. Obviously, Viv's a robot, she's immune to bleed. Also has a node called Power Snack, which nullifies buffs on a timer. Viv is nullify immune and thus can get around that without trying. So the only other node that you need to worry about here is this node that pushes the frostbites on you on a timer. So you can see like the little cold snap icon. Every time that timer goes up, we're getting frostbites on you. And if she were to make contact with us, those frostbites begin to expire. So essentially, if you don't have a cold snap or frostbite immune champion in this fight, in addition to being bleed immune for the caltrops, for the bleeds that you get just for hitting into her, you really need to play around that cold snap node and transfer them over to her. So if you play this kind of like no touch, like I'm doing here, again, not really like the #1 option for this fight, but she can easily play around more nodes than you think she can. A node that requires you to play without getting touched at all by the defender, she can get around that very easily because of her face. Just a super valuable mechanic in her kit that lets her circumvent a lot more things than you think she could. So again, because this Morningstar has well north of 800,000 health, obviously a single rotation isn't going to cut it here, so we did go for the special 3 here. And I don't know if we go for a second special 2 or if we try and do the spam here right after the special 1. Looks like I'm going to try and do whatever damage I can here with the special 1s here. So we are really close to being able to get a 4th special 1 on this set of energy vulns here. So the 3rd special 1 with the Furies doesn't quite clear, leaves her with about a quarter of her health left. So we're going to try and sneak in another combo. I probably should have fired that special 1 off prior to the combo ending, but that didn't really do a lot of damage. So this is what happens, and I talked about this in like my range video, right? When even the extended rotation doesn't have the range to clear an opponent's health pool, you then just need to start over, right? So we fire off that second special 2 there. We had about 10 armor ups before that. So if you go through that entire rotation, she recharges a lot of her armor ups by the time you need them again. It's not going to be fully recharged, but enough for you to get enough energy back to clear the rest of the fight. Alright, here's the last story quest fight. This is the Crucible Deadpool X-Force. So he has reverse controls on his special attacks. He has also got aggression regen, which we can counter easily with that heal block. So again, because this is a longer fight, we are going to go up to the special 3. The special 3 also gives us the bonus of giving her immunity to reverse controls. So we do have to do the reverse controls on his special attacks here at the start of the fight, but as soon as we are able to get that special 3 off, we can just dex his specials normally, which is really, really nice if you aren't good with reverse controls like I'm not. And then from here, again, we're going to be gaining passive Furies from the node whenever he tries to regen while heal blocked, and we're going to have that passive heal block on him for pretty much the whole fight here. So going to build up to our special 2, and if I recall correctly, we get so much damage from those passive Furies that the special 2 kills him outright here with like half of his health remaining here. So there we go, about 50% health, and you can see the burst damage is just incredible here on that special 2. That is Crucible Deadpool X-Force down in a hilarious 61 seconds. Alright folks, that's going to do it for this one, and I sincerely hope you enjoyed it. Really wanted to try and make sure in this video that I was able to show Viv off in a variety of matchups and not just those where she had class advantage. You know, I fully understand that Viv is not a champion for everybody, but if you like her, if you're interested in getting better with her, and you're committing to that max sig requirement, really hope I was able to show off a lot of the things that you can do with her in this video. Likewise, if you clicked on this video because you weren't the biggest Viv fan, or maybe you were just curious about what she could and could not do, I really hope that I was able to show you that she is probably a lot better than you think she is. Anyways, before you click away, I would really appreciate you clicking that like button for me. If you are not yet subscribed, I would really appreciate that you take a quick moment and do so. If you've made it this far into the video, please leave me a comment below that says, "The sun is a deadly laser." And as always, thank you very much for watching. See you next time.